Good morning, everyone. We stand here this morning reminded once again, in law enforcement, there is no such thing as a routine job. We stand here devastated and trying to pick up the pieces of what is a shattered home and a shattered NYPD family. Police officer Anastasius Sakos, a 43-year-old husband and father of two young children, was struck and killed by a motorist in what can only be described as a senseless and completely avoidable chain of events that took place on the LIE earlier this morning. Officer Sakos, who joined the NYPD 14 years ago, was an extremely highly regarded member of our Highway District Unit 3. He was on the LIE earlier this morning helping to investigate the scene of an earlier fatal accident, assisting other officers when they needed help. Just before 2 this morning, Officer Sakos was hit by a 2013 Volkswagen traveling eastbound on the LIE. Officer Sakos was assigned to divert traffic off of the highway when the 2013 Volkswagen veered, striking him head-on. The driver of that car, a 32-year-old woman from Hempstead, was soon after apprehended. She is now facing charges up to vehicular manslaughter, and we know now that she was driving with a suspended license and intoxicated at the time of the accident. I want to take this opportunity to thank New York Presbyterian Queens Hospital and all of their staff for what they do, not just today, but each and every day. I'm going to turn it now to the mayor. We'll hear from Pat Lynch, and then we'll take some brief questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's a very, very painful moment. Police Officer Anastasios Sakos gave 14 years to this city protecting people, and that's what he was doing this evening. He was out there trying to make sure that everyone was safe. And he is dead because someone drove under the influence and recklessly. Someone drove with a suspended license. He's dead because he was at an accident where people had driven recklessly also with a suspended license. We see here a horrendous pattern. People doing the wrong thing and other people dead because of it. And one of them, a hero officer who did everything right in his life for us, and he is dead because of other people's negligence. Commissioner and I just spent time with his widow, Irene. And the pain she's going through, there are no words for. But all New Yorkers need to realize a few hours ago, she was looking forward to seeing her husband again, and now she won't. He leaves behind a 6-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son. They will never see their father again because somebody did the wrong thing. And we have to understand every day our officers go out looking to do the right thing. But here's a good man who won't be home. Just so much pain. So please, everyone, realize this family will never be whole again. What we will do is everything we can to support these children, to support this widow. But it won't be enough.
You know, last night when most of us were sleeping, there was New York City police officers out putting themselves at risk. This officer was standing in the highway trying to rescue and help people from a previous car accident. You know, sometimes when we look at police officers, we focus on their uniform and we focus on the stern face that we have to put on to do our job professionally. But a day like today, I think we have to take a moment to think about it, that under that uniform, behind that stern face, was a father, was a husband, was someone that was trying to put their life together for the future of their family. In the police department, there's two compliments you can give a fellow police officer that top no other. He's a cop's cop, and he's a good guy. You heard them both in this emergency room. Yes, he was a good guy.
Any questions?
We want to talk about the nature of this incident because he was investigating an incident where Mayor de Blasio said that someone was also driving under the influence. We're hoping for clarity on that.
At about 12:30 this morning, there was a single car accident on the eastbound LIE where a vehicle struck a utility pole. During the course of that accident, there were 3 occupants of the car. The rear passenger of that car passed away. This is before Officer Sakos arrives on the scene. It's important to note in that incident, NYPD officers arriving on the scene encountered a car that was on fire. They rushed towards that car, broke the window, and pulled people out of that car. Because of that accident that occurred at about 12:30, Officer Sakos and other members arrived to divert traffic off of the highway. About 1 o'clock in the morning, as they're diverting traffic off of the highway so that it doesn't come upon the earlier scene, we have a 2013 Volkswagen that's traveling eastbound, swerves to avoid vehicles, and then strikes Officer Sakos, who was standing in the roadway next to his marked police car.
Is it at this point clear that the suspect was where that she struck the officer, and where was she finally apprehended?
I think that when you see the images of her car and the windshield that is completely shattered, as well as damage to the front of the car, there is no way to not know that you struck an individual.
Commissioner, did you have any interactions with Officer Sakos? Have you heard, what sort of stories have you heard about his life, his career throughout this point? Did you met him? Did you know him?
Yeah, if I met him, I'm unaware of it. But I would echo what the mayor said and Pat said. I've spoken extensively tonight to members of his unit that knew him for years, describe him as the best of the best, describe him as a person that would never ask why, just what do you need done. And I will tell you that it is devastating to speak to his widow. 2 young children that are going to grow up without a father. Well, now they're going to have 35 other fathers. But it is never going to replace what has been lost tonight. And that's what the people in New York City should know. These members on the hill behind you are fathers, mothers, daughters, sons. And they come to work every single day willing to protect you. And sometimes that happens. And sometimes it's at a great cost. We have to stop the rhetoric that is taking place, not only in this city, in this country. It is toxic, and it has to stop. And we need leaders to stand up and call for it to stop across this entire country, now. Any other questions? Thank you very much.